Welcome to Heaven Awaits. My name is Lee, and I narrate stories that change lives. From near-death experiences that offer a glimpse beyond the veil, to raw, personal testimonies of people who found God when all hope seemed lost. These are encounters with the divine, told from the heart. If these stories move you, please like, subscribe, and tap the bell. It's free, and it helps others discover the hope you found. Grab a coffee or tea, settle in, and join me for today's powerful journey. I used to think rock bottom had a floor. Turns out it doesn't. You just keep falling. My name's Chris. I'm 34 now, but for about a decade of my life, I wasn't really alive, just existing, chasing the next high, watching everything I loved disappear in the rearview mirror. It started with pills after a construction accident, herniated disc, excruciating pain. The doctor wrote me a prescription for Oxy, and man, those little pills didn't just take away the physical pain. They took away everything. All the worry about bills, the fights with my girlfriend Lisa, the disappointment in my dad's eyes when I dropped out of community college. For a few hours, none of it mattered. When the prescription ran out, I found out pretty quick how easy it was to get more on the street. More expensive, yeah, but I told myself it was temporary. Just until my back healed. Just until I could work full-time again. Just until. I was functioning for a while, still holding down my job, still making it to family dinners, still convincing Lisa that everything was fine. But those pills, they're sneaky. They don't take everything all at once. They take it piece by piece, so slowly you barely notice until there's nothing left. First, I lost the job. Showed up high one too many times, and my boss, who'd been pretty decent about everything, finally had enough. Then I lost the apartment when the money ran out. Lisa stuck with me longer than she should have. God, I put that woman through hell. Finding me passed out on the bathroom floor, missing her birthday because I was out trying to score, stealing her jewelry to pawn. The night she finally left, she sat on the edge of our bed. Well, her bed by then, in her sister's spare room where we were staying, and just looked at me with these tired eyes. Not even angry anymore. Just done. "I can't watch you die, Chris," she said. "I love you, but you're not even you anymore." I promised her I'd change, swore up and down, cried like a baby. But even as I was begging her to stay, part of my brain was calculating how much cash she had in her purse and whether I could get to it before she left. That's what the drugs do to you. Turn you into someone you don't recognize. After Lisa left, things got real dark, real fast. I was staying on friends' couches until they got sick of me too. Then it was shelters. Then it was my car until it got repossessed. Then it was just wherever. Park benches, abandoned buildings, a tent by the river when I could scrape together enough for one. My habit got worse, not better. Pills led to heroin because it was cheaper. Heroin led to anything I could get my hands on. I OD'd twice in 1 year. Both times, some stranger called an ambulance. Both times I was pissed when I woke up, because now I was dope sick with no way to fix it. My family tried to help. My mom would still answer my calls, send me money sometimes, thinking it was for food. My little sister Amy found me downtown once, took me to dinner, tried to convince me to go to rehab. I sat across from her at Denny's, scratching at my arms, barely able to focus on her words, watching her cry into her coffee. I promised her I'd think about it. I didn't. I stole from all of them. Money from my mom's purse when she let me shower at her place. My dad's power tools from the garage. My sister's laptop. When you're an addict, there's no low you won't stoop to. The worst was Christmas Eve, 2019. I hadn't seen my family in months, hadn't eaten in 2 days, was dope sick as hell. I knew they'd all be at my parents' house for dinner, so I broke in while they were at church, looking for anything I could sell. I found my mom's jewelry box, took everything, including my grandma's wedding ring that was supposed to be Amy's someday. On my way out, I saw the presents under the tree, and I took those too. presents for my niece and nephew, who were 5 and 3, and still asked about Uncle Chris sometimes. My dad caught me in the driveway, arms full of their stuff. I'll never forget his face. Not angry, just heartbroken. Like he was looking at a ghost. He didn't even try to stop me. Just watched me go with tears running into his beard. After that, I was completely alone. And honestly, that was fine with me. People just got in the way of getting high. The only person I regularly talked to was my dealer, and even he looked at me like I was a lost cause. February 2020. Coldest winter in years. I was sleeping in an abandoned warehouse with a bunch of other addicts. No heat, just body warmth, and whatever blankets we'd managed to steal or fish out of dumpsters. I was sick, probably pneumonia. Couldn't stop coughing, had a fever so high I was hallucinating. Hadn't showered in weeks, hadn't really eaten, was down to maybe 130 pounds. One morning, I woke up and the guy next to me didn't. Joey, nice kid, only 22, former hockey player who got hooked after a shoulder surgery. He'd given me half his sandwich the night before. Now he was just gone. Blue lips, eyes open. Nobody even called an ambulance. Someone just took his shoes and his coat and whatever else he had in his pockets. I'd like to say that was my wake-up call, but it wasn't. I just moved to a different corner of the warehouse, used Joey's death to guilt someone into sharing their hit with me. Rock bottom still didn't have a floor. I was still falling. 3 days later, I was digging through a McDonald's dumpster looking for food when this guy approached me. Clean cut, nice jacket. I figured he was either a cop or some church do-gooder, so I told him to leave me alone. He didn't. Said his name was Mike, asked if I was hungry, offered to buy me a meal, no strings attached. I was suspicious, but also starving, so I went with him. Sat in that McDonald's looking like death while he bought me 2 Big Macs, large fries, a shake. I wolfed it down, waiting for the catch. The religious pamphlet, the lecture, the offer to help if I just accepted Jesus or whatever. But he just sat there, asked me my name, asked if I had somewhere warm to sleep. No judgment in his voice. "Why do you care?" I finally asked him, mouth full of fries. "I was you," he said simply. 10 years ago, living behind a Kroger, shooting up in a gas station bathroom. Now I work at a treatment center. Just started last month. "Good for you," I said. I didn't want to hear his recovery story. Didn't want to think about the possibility of something different. Getting clean meant feeling everything I'd been running from, and I wasn't ready for that. He must have seen it in my face because he backed off, just gave me his card, told me when I was ready, call anytime, day or night. They had a bed for me. I took the card to be polite, shoved it in my pocket, and forgot about it. A week later, I OD'd again. 3rd time. Only this time, nobody found me for a while. I was alone in a public bathroom stall. By the time the paramedics got there, I'd been down long enough that they had to hit me with 3 doses of Narcan. The doctor later told me I was technically dead for almost 4 minutes. I woke up in the hospital, strapped to the bed because apparently I'd been combative. There was a cop outside my door because they'd found a warrant for my arrest, possession charges from 6 months earlier that I'd never shown up to court for. Laying in that hospital bed, coming out of the fog, something finally clicked. Maybe it was the 4 minutes of being dead. Maybe it was seeing Joey's blue face in my dreams. Maybe I was just finally tired enough. But for the first time in years, I felt scared. Not of getting arrested or being dope sick, but of the fact that I was going to die, alone and filthy in some public toilet. And that would be the end of Chris. That everything I'd ever been, or could have been, would be gone. I started sobbing. This poor nurse came in, probably thought I was in pain. But I wasn't. I was just finally feeling the weight of everything I'd lost. Everything I'd thrown away. When I could talk again, I asked the nurse if I could make a phone call. She looked skeptical, but brought me a phone. With shaking hands, I dug through the plastic bag of my belongings until I found that crumpled card. Mike, the McDonald's guy. I expected to get his voicemail. It was 2 a.m., but he answered on the third ring, voice alert like he hadn't been sleeping. "This is Mike." "It's Chris," I said, voice raspy from the breathing tube they'd had down my throat. "The guy from the McDonald's. I don't know if you remember." "I remember," he said. "Where are you?" I told him. Expected him to say he'd come in the morning. Instead, he said, "I'll be there in 20 minutes. Hang tight." True to his word, 20 minutes later, this guy I'd met exactly once was arguing with the cop outside my door, showing him papers, making phone calls. Within an hour, he had it arranged. I'd go straight from the hospital to the treatment center. The court date would be postponed pending completion of the program. The next day, still weak, still handcuffed, I was transferred to Riverside Recovery Center. And so began the hardest, most painful, most important journey of my life. Detox was hell. Straight up. I've never been so sick. Vomiting, diarrhea, cold sweats, hot sweats, every muscle in my body cramping, screaming for someone to just give me something, anything to make it stop. But the staff there, many of them former addicts themselves, they just sat with me, held cold washcloths to my forehead, talked me through the worst of it. Mike came to see me every day, just to check in, sometimes just to sit in silence when I couldn't talk. He showed me a picture of himself from his using days, and I almost didn't believe it was the same person. In the photo, he looked worse than me. Now he was healthy, clear-eyed, with this quiet confidence I couldn't fathom. "You'll get there," he told me when he caught me staring at the difference. "One day at a time." I'd heard that phrase before and thought it was bullshit. But in those early days, one day at a time was all I could manage. Sometimes 1 hour at a time, sometimes 1 minute. After detox came rehab, group therapy, individual counseling, so much talking about feelings that I thought my head would explode. I learned that I'd been self-medicating anxiety and depression my whole life, long before the pills. Learned that addiction runs in my family. My uncle died of cirrhosis. My grandfather was an alcoholic who beat his kids. I called my mom from rehab after I'd been there a month. I was shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. Expected her to hang up on me. She didn't. She cried, told me she loved me, that she'd never stopped praying for me. "I'm so sorry, Mom," I said, crying too. "Just get better," she answered. "That's all I want." My sister was harder to win over. Can't blame her. The first time she came to visit, she sat across from me with her arms crossed, barely making eye contact. She'd brought pictures of her kids, though. My niece and nephew, now 7 and 5. The nephew I barely knew. "They ask about you," she said stiffly. "I never know what to tell them." "Tell them I've been sick," I said, "but I'm getting better." 6 months in that place, 6 months of therapy and NA meetings, and learning how to be a human being again, how to shower regularly and make my bed, and have conversations that didn't revolve around scoring, how to feel emotions without immediately trying to numb them, how to apologize, really apologize, and start making amends. I relapsed once, 3 months in, found a way to get pills brought in, took them in the bathroom during movie night, got caught immediately because apparently it's pretty obvious when someone who's been clean for months suddenly gets high. I thought they'd kick me out, but they didn't. Just added more therapy, more monitoring, more work to do. Relapse is part of recovery for many people, my counselor told me. What matters is what you do next. What I did next was recommit. Work the program harder. Dig deeper into the why of it all. When I finally left Riverside, clean for 5 months, starting over after the relapse, I was terrified. The world felt too bright, too loud, too full of triggers. Mike helped me find a halfway house, get a job washing dishes at a restaurant where the owner was in recovery himself. It was hard, that first year. So hard. I had to rebuild everything from scratch. My reputation, my relationships, my self-respect. Had to learn how to deal with stress without chemicals. Had to face the wreckage of my past actions. Some days I thought about using. A lot of days, if I'm honest. But I kept going to meetings, kept calling Mike when those thoughts got too loud, kept putting one foot in front of the other. I made amends where I could, paid back money I'd stolen, even if it took months of dishwashing shifts. Some people forgave me, some didn't. My sister let me back into her life slowly, carefully. Let me meet her kids again, though never unsupervised at first. My dad took longer. The hurt went deeper there. 3 years clean now. Some days I still can't believe it. I'm a peer support specialist at Riverside, the same place that saved me. Got my own apartment. Small, nothing fancy, but mine, paid for with honest work. I've got a used Toyota that gets me where I need to go. Got my GED, taking classes at community college. Lisa and I aren't back together. Too much water under that bridge. But we're friendly now. She's married, has a kid, seems happy. I'm genuinely glad for her. Recovery isn't a straight line. I still have bad days, still go to meetings, still have to be careful about the people I spend time with, the places I go. Addiction is always there, waiting for a weak moment. But I've built a life worth staying clean for. Last Christmas, I sat in my parents' living room, watching my niece and nephew open presents. My sister was next to me on the couch, not tense anymore, just normal. My dad asked me to help him fix a leaky pipe in the bathroom, his way of showing trust, letting me near the tools I once stole. My mom kept bringing me more food, trying to fatten me up even though I'm at a healthy weight now. In the middle of all the chaos and wrapping paper, I had this moment of clarity. 4 years earlier, I'd been stealing from these same people on this same holiday. I'd been a ghost, a walking dead man. Now I was alive again, part of a family, worthy of love. I stepped outside for a minute, just to catch my breath, staring up at the winter sky, and I found myself saying thank you to whoever might be listening, for second chances, for Mike at McDonald's, for hitting a bottom hard enough that the only way left was up. I'm not going to tell you it was easy. It wasn't. Still isn't. I'm not going to tell you I don't have regrets. I have plenty. 10 years of my life gone to that poison. Relationships damaged beyond repair. Memories I'd give anything to erase. But I'm here. Clean. Present. Helping others find their way out of the same darkness. And somewhere along the way, I found something I never expected to find again. Hope. This one, I have no idea how it ended up in my filter. It should be considered an NDE, as he was dead for 4 minutes. Though I am not marking this as an NDE, I do believe that it could be classified that way. Though I have had tons of surgeries in my life, I can honestly say that I never became addicted to anything. I am reading this because I know that a lot of my listeners have family members like Chris, and well, I believe that someone may get something from this. Those of you listening may have also noticed that I didn't use the AI imagery for this one. This one needed the peaceful imagery,